This is your USMNT Abroad weekend update from January 16th to January 18th of 2026. Hello. If you're new here, I'm Filippo and welcome to Tactical Manager TV. And welcome to the US Men's National Team Abroad series, where every single Monday we update you on how the Yanks did abroad over the weekend. Now listen, this was a weekend with a lot of bad games. There were plenty of terrible games that I had to watch. It reached a point where I was almost vomiting while watching soccer, but real men don't vomit, they swallow. And swallow my vomit, I did. What do you guys think Abe Lincoln would have done? He didn't vomit. Abe Lincoln would always swallow. And so would Ben Franklin. And those are two great Americans that hated the racist. And they also 100% did not go to the island, Abe Lincoln and Ben Franklin. And they also are not in the files that shall not be named. Alright, now drop a like in this video if you haven't already. Help us hit 1,000 likes. And let me know in the comment section down below, who is your US Men's National Team Abroad Player of the Weekend? Let's roll the intro and start the recap. Alright, let's start with the land of spaghetti, pizza, pasta, lasagna, cigars, pretzels, Italy. Let's talk about the Americans in the Serie A. The first one being Christian Pulisic from Milan. And on Sunday, Pulisic started and played 72 minutes for Milan during their 1-0 win over Lecce. Now look, remember in the intro that I watched plenty of bad games this weekend that forced me to swallow my vomit? Let's make that clear. Well, this was one of them. This Milan versus Lecce game was terrible. Now, Pulisic was fine. He continues to be heavily involved in their offense. He just has been kind of wasteful over the past 2 weekends. And I also think Pulisic playing up top with Rafael Leao just isn't a good fit, right? He needs not really a target man, but another center forward like Fulcre. I thought Pulisic played much better when he played with Fulcre, even though he did waste 2 chances in the previous weekend. Like for this specific game, Pulisic had 2 shots on target. One of them, he did what he could. It was a nice shot. I believe it was his left foot. Now the other opportunity that he had in the second half, he has to score those. It was a nice setup from Rafael Leao, and when Pulisic finished, which was close to a 1v1 to goalkeeper, it was saved. Now, it wasn't a terrible finish by Christian Pulisic, but if he had done better, he would have scored. And Christian Pulisic has been in a bit of a rare, bad run for Milan. And listen, it's not bad form, it's bad run. Let me explain. It's been 5 games without a single goal contribution. And as I said, over the past 2 weekends, he's had a few good chances to score, and he was a bit wasteful. The goalkeeper saved it a few times, but he should have done better when it comes to finishing. And usually Christian Pulisic is actually very efficient. He isn't playing bad, so I wouldn't really say it's poor form. It's just that things haven't really gone his way lately. If luck was on his side, he probably would have had 1, 2, or even 3 goal contributions over the past 2 weekends. Okay, next up we have Yunus Musah from Atalanta. And on Friday, Musah actually started and played 56 minutes for Atalanta during their 1-1 draw with Pisa. So he was subbed out when the game was still 0-0. He was mainly playing out wide. He was fine. He took on defenders on the ball. He completed a few dribbles. He was okay. He didn't really stand out at all, at least not any moment that I watched, or he hasn't at all this season, right? But the good news here is that Musah and his trajectory has been looking good. It's been looking upward. Over the past 7 games, he's played at least 20 minutes, and I believe he's gotten 2 or 3 starts, which compared to what he was getting earlier this season or just a few weeks ago, that's pretty good. Next up, we have Weston McKennie from Juventus. And on Saturday, McKennie started and played 80 minutes for Juve during their 1-0 loss to Cagliari. He played out wide on the right side of the field, and he did get enough touches throughout the game. He was involved, but he didn't really do anything meaningful. I don't know. It's one of those meh performances from McKennie. I can't say he was awful. He definitely wasn't awful, but he was also far from good, which is why I just thought he was meh. And then last but not least, we have Ben Cremaschi from Parma, and he started off the bench, and he was subbed in the final 10 minutes during their 0-0 draw with Genoa. Hey, at least he got minutes. Okay, let's go to England now and talk about the Americans in the Premier League. The first one being Chris Richards from Crystal Palace. And on Saturday, Richards started and played the full 90 minutes for Crystal Palace during their 2-1 loss to Sunderland, and I thought Richards played well. Both of the goals they conceded were not on him. He won most of his duels, he was solid on defense, he was also fairly involved in possession, and he was fine on the ball. Not perfect, but he did fine. And with Marc Guéhi leaving Crystal Palace this transfer window, Chris Richards will have an even bigger role on that back line, a more prominent role, shall I say. Now, for this game, again, it was a solid performance from Richards, despite the loss. Next up, we have Anthony Robinson and Brendan Aronson, because Fulham and Leeds clashed over the weekend. And on Saturday, A-Rob started and played the full 90 minutes for Fulham during their 1-0 loss to Leeds. Now, Robinson was fine. He was steady and reliable as always, mostly on defense. I would say on offense this game, he didn't really offer much going forward. As for Brendan Aronson, he had a very Brendan Aronson-like game. He was hustling, fighting, falling, but he wasn't really an attacking threat. He had one moment, which was a great goal-scoring opportunity and honestly an easy finish on a 1v1 at the goalkeeper where the ball was bouncing and he hit it over the crossbar. It was a bizarre, terrible finish from Brendan, but overall, his performance was fine. It's what you expect from him, and he mostly played his role. Yeah, it was a good hustle-like performance, which it's what Brendan Aronson usually offers. The last American in England would have been Tyler Adams from Bournemouth, but again, he's still recovering from the knee injury. He's not really expected to be back till March, so yeah, there's that. Alright, now before we continue, a quick word from the sponsor of this video, Kalshi. We'll be back in around 60 to 70 seconds. Don't forget to drop a like in the meantime. When we're back, we'll talk about the Americans in the Bundesliga. And this video is brought to you by Kalshi. Kalshi is the first federally regulated exchange platform for trading on real-world events like sports, crypto, elections, and even the weather. It's the #1 predictions market in the United States of America, and it's legal on all 50 states, and you can play as long as you're 18 and older. So how does it work? On Kalshi, users buy and sell yes or no event contracts based on what they think will happen. Contracts can cost anywhere from 10 cents to $1, and the closer the price is to $1, the more likely the market thinks the event will happen. When the event ends, the contracts that are correctly predicted, they'll settle at $1. So if you buy a contract for 45 cents and you're right, you'll more than double your money. Now, if you're wrong, it'll settle at $0 and you lose your money. So always trade with responsibility, please. And right now, looking at their World Cup predictions market, you can clearly see that everyone thinks that Spain are the favorites to win the World Cup, followed by France, England, and honestly, even Brazil and Argentina are there, even though I don't think they're the favorites. And then you got Germany, Portugal, and the United States barely has a shot. With Kalshi, real people put their knowledge, research, and instincts to work, which makes these markets surprisingly good at revealing what people truly think will happen. And honestly, a more accurate representation of future outcomes. Head to the link in the description of this video, which is kalshi.com/tacticalmanagertv, and get $10 when you trade 100. The link is in the description. Once again, thank you very much, Kalshi, for partnering up with Tactical Manager. Okay, we are back. Next up, we have the Americans in Germany that play in the Bundesliga. The first one being Malik Tillman from Leverkusen and Cole Campbell from Hoffenheim, because they clashed over the weekend. And on Saturday, Tillman started and played the full 90 minutes for Leverkusen during their 1-0 loss to Hoffenheim. I was half watching this game because there was another game going on at the same time that I was a bit more focused on. I can't really remember what was the other game that I was watching, but anyhow, honestly, I don't remember Tillman doing anything. It was one of those ghosting masterclasses, right, where the player just completely looks invisible throughout the game. As for Cole Campbell, he was not available for Hoffenheim. He's dealing with an ankle injury, and he's expected to be back in February. Next up, we have Joe Scally and Gio Reyna from Borussia Mönchengladbach and Damian Downs from Hamburger. And on Saturday, Joe Scally started and played the full 90 minutes for Gladbach during their 0-0 draw with Hamburger. As for Gio Reyna, he started off the bench, and he was subbed in the 69th minute. Nice. Now, Gio Reyna is one of those players that might actually not even be worth following. His club career, national team, fantastic. Club career, I don't even know what to think about it anymore. And Damian Downs, well, he started for Hamburger, and he played 80 minutes for them. Next on the list, we have Noah Kai Banks from Augsburg. And on Sunday, Banks started and played the full 90 minutes once again for Augsburg during their 2-2 draw with Freiburg. And he looked very comfortable once again in the Bundesliga game. He has been great on the ball. He is a true ball-playing defender. And hopefully Augsburg avoids relegation. And if they don't, I doubt Noah Kai Banks will stay. Oh, and Banks did get a yellow card during this game, so he is suspended for their game next weekend against Bayern. Honestly, it's probably good that he's avoiding Bayern, because Augsburg is very likely going to get trashed. Next up, we have Kevin Paredes, because he's back from the dead. He's been out for a long time, and he came back like a week or two ago, and he played once again. And on Saturday, Paredes started off the bench and was subbed in at halftime for Wolfsburg during their 1-1 draw with Heidenheim. This was the third game back from injury. He has 3 games this season. Like, that's it. For this one, he played as a left back, and the minutes seem to be trending up, so I guess that's good news. Last but not least in Germany, we have James Sands from St. Pauli. And on Saturday, Sands started and played the full 90 minutes for St. Pauli during their 3-2 loss to Borussia Dortmund. And the reason I'm mentioning James Sands this weekend is because he scored for them. He scored for them off a nice header from a corner. But obviously, it wasn't enough to rescue them from this loss. Now let's go to Spain and talk about the Americans in La Liga. There's actually only one American player in La Liga, and his name is Johnny Cardoso from Atletico Madrid. And on Sunday, Johnny started and played 78 minutes for Atletico Madrid during their 1-0 win over Deportivo Alaves. He played fine, he played his role, nothing spectacular, but nothing bad. He did good. I expect him to continue to start for them for the rest of the season, as long as he stays healthy. Now, there's no other player or no other American in La Liga that we should talk about or we have to talk about, but there's a coach, Pellegrino Matarazzo, that coaches Real Sociedad, and we must talk about him. Because the American coach, Pellegrino Matarazzo, is off to a hot start in Spain while coaching Real Sociedad. He's undefeated for the first 4 games, but the results matter against who they were. He tied Atletico Madrid, that's not easy, and this weekend, he defeated Barcelona. Yes, Real Sociedad, under an American coach, defeated Barcelona. Pellegrino Matarazzo, during those 4 games, also managed to advance in the Copa del Rey. If the U.S. Soccer Federation is competent, usually they're not, but in the future, if they're trying to make things right, maybe not this cycle, but the next one, the 2034 World Cup cycle, we should have Pellegrino Matarazzo as the U.S. men's national team head coach. Right now, as it stands, he's the most qualified or the best American coach out there. Time to leave Spain and go to France so we can talk about the Americans in Liga. The first one being Florin Balogun for Monaco. And on Friday, Balogun started and played 89 minutes for Monaco during their 3-1 loss to Lorient. Now, Balogun started the game with 2 good shots on target, and he was very dangerous off the ball, even though he didn't really get many touches, but that's Balogun. Very often he doesn't get many touches, but when he does, he's quite dangerous because his off-the-ball movement is incredible. Now, he did technically get the assist for the goal that Monaco scored because he found Ansu Fati in the box. He passed the ball to Ansu Fati, and then Ansu Fati shot it on goal. The goalkeeper saved it, and Fati scored off his own rebound. So that's why they didn't count the assist for Balogun, but in my opinion, he got the assist, or at least we should count it as an assist. Now, Balogun was subbed out around the 89th minute with an apparent knock, but he looks fine. I don't think he's going to miss any time. He should be fine. Next up, we have Tim Weah from Olympique Marseille. And on Saturday, Weah started and played the full 90 minutes for Marseille during their 5-2 win over Angers. Weah scored the 4th goal for Marseille off a header, and this was his 2nd Ligue 1 goal of the season. Now, Mark McKenzie was not available this weekend for Toulouse due to a foot injury. It's unclear how much time he's going to miss. There were no reports saying how many weeks, days, or if he'll miss any games at all besides this one. So we'll update you on that next Monday, but he didn't play this weekend. Last but not least in France, we have Tenor Tessman from Lyon. And on Sunday, Tessman started and played 74 minutes for Lyon during their 2-1 win over Boobs, or shall I say, Brest. Now, you know who actually put one heck of a performance? My BFF. Endrick. And if you want Brazilian soccer content in English, the best one on YouTube in my humble opinion, go to Chapéu Football. The link is in the description of this video. That's our channel covering Brazilian soccer in English on YouTube, so go check it out. We actually had a video about Endrick not so long ago. But enough of France. Let's go to the Netherlands and talk about the Americans in the Eredivisie. And actually, Pepe is injured. He has a broken arm. He's out till March. And Serginho Dest was not available. Now, Dest should not miss much time. Apparently, he just has a knock, and he was not available this weekend. He should be able to play next weekend, but again, none of them played. I got nothing else to say there. All right, we're going back to England so we can talk about the Americans in the EFL Championship. But before we do that, make sure to drop a like if you haven't already. Do it right now. It takes a second. And a random comment to rig the YouTube algorithm. The first one that I want to talk about in England is Josh Sargent from Norwich. But he's probably not going to be there much longer. And on Saturday, Sargent didn't even make the bench for Norwich. That's because he's been frozen out after trying to force his way out in a very unprofessional way. It's becoming kind of hard to root for Josh Sargent. He has 0 goals for the US men's national team ever since COVID happened, and it's been 6 years. Isn't it crazy that it's been 6 mother-licking years since COVID happened? Feels like it was last year. It's been 6 years. Over half a decade. It's insane. Sargent also rejected a move to the Bundesliga last summer to Wolfsburg, only to be banished to Norwich's U21s after trying to force his way out in a ridiculous manner to Major League Soccer, to Toronto FC. I wish him the best, but it's tough to care. Next up, we have Haji Wright from Coventry. And on Saturday, Haji Wright started off the bench and was subbed in the 67th minute during their 2-1 win over Leicester. And Haji finally scored. It's been a while. The last time he had scored for Coventry was October 4th. And this time, he scored the game-winning goal that gave Coventry 3 very important points as they get closer and closer to getting promoted to the English Premier League. Now, mind you, it was a tap-in. And it did look like the ball was going to go in anyway for the goal that he scored. But hey, a goal is a goal. And if there was someone that very much needed that goal, it was Haji Wright. So we'll take it. Next up, we have Aidan Morris from Middlesbrough. And on Saturday, Morris started and played the full 90 minutes for Middlesbrough during their 3-2 win over West Brom. I didn't watch this game, but I heard Aidan Morris was actually quite good. Last but not least, we have my favorite player, Patrick Agyemang from Derby County. And on Saturday, Agyemang started and played 89 minutes for Derby County during their 1-0 win over Preston North End. And Agyemang scored the game-winning goal off a very nice header. He won the game for Derby County. And it was an interesting game from Agyemang. He saved Derby, he got them the win. He had 5 shots and only one of them hit the target. And the one that did hit the target was his header that he scored. It was a weird one, right? He also won 2 out of 14 ground duels, so he was pretty much losing every single 50-50. And he had 1 successful dribbling attempt out of 6. I don't know why he, out of all players, is trying to dribble past anyone. Look, regardless, this dude won them the game. He got them 3 points. And it's not the first time that this happens this season. Agyemang has been fine in the championship, to my surprise. Maybe I misjudged the level of the championship. Maybe I misjudged Agyemang. I think maybe the championship is not as good as we thought. Okay, so who's the player of the weekend? And I was torn between 2 guys. One being Agyemang, because he got them the win. The other one is not really a player. It's Pellegrino Matarazzo. And my player of the weekend will be Pellegrino Matarazzo because he did pull a win against Barcelona. Okay, so Agyemang will get a shout out as the player of the weekend, but I have to give it to Pellegrino Matarazzo because defeating Barcelona in La Liga ain't easy. And he's a Real Sociedad coach, right? It's not like Real Madrid defeated Barcelona or Atletico Madrid defeated Barcelona. It was Real Sociedad. A very good team, but it's not easy to do so. All right, everyone, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to drop a like before you go, and let me know in the comment section down below who's your player of the weekend. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.